Hi everybody, it's Derek from Ada Community Library and welcome back to Coder Dojo. We are in week 9 of our summer series for learning how to code with Scratch, and we're going to do a new project this week and we'll go ahead and get started. So we're going to change it up this time around and do a different kind of application or interactive program, if you will, in Scratch, dealing with digital storytelling. So what is digital storytelling? Well, it's got a couple elements in it that we're going to put into our project today, and it's going to include some characters or sprites that you'll choose, and they will have a conversation with word bubbles showing, and the broadcast block will also be used in this project, so that when the two characters or sprites are communicating back and forth, the broadcast block will help the conversation continue moving forward, and we'll see how that works here in a little bit. And then also we will have some backgrounds and even some music playing during our scene. So I think we can go ahead and get started, and what you can do is log in to your Scratch account at scratch.mit.edu, and then we will get started here. Okay, so go ahead and log in if you need to at your Scratch account so you can save your work. And first I'm going to just give you a little example, a short little preview of what we'll be making today with our story, our digital story. So here's our scene. We have kind of a medieval theme, and this guy here looks like some kind of magician, and then he's going to have a conversation with a fair maiden that's going to come into the scene. So let's check it out. Okay, so we'll stop it there, and I think that gives you an idea of kind of what we're going to be working towards today. And I'm going to go ahead and come on over here, and we can create a new Scratch project. So you can go ahead and do that on your Scratch account, and you can just leave Scratchy. If you want to do this little example, I wanted to just do a short little refresher on what the broadcast block does, or how it works with the receive block. So if you want to follow along here, we have Scratchy, and then we also have another sprite here, this ball. And if you'll notice that the sprites are each showing down here below, and you want to make sure that whichever sprite you're writing code for, you want to have that one highlighted. Okay, so right now we want to highlight the Scratchy sprite here, so the code will go to him or her. Okay, and now so for the broadcast block, what we're going to want to do is go ahead and go to the events button and grab a when the green flag is clicked block. Okay, and then we're going to go right down here a little lower, and we're going to go to the broadcast message here block and put that right there. Okay, so what the broadcast block does is basically it activates other scripts that are in your program. So it could be a script with another sprite like the ball, or it could be something else. So in this example, we'll just have the broadcast message we'll be going to that ball from Scratchy, the Scratchy sprite to the ball sprite to get the ball to move. So let's go ahead and continue on, and what we'll do is we'll click on the ball sprite down here, so it's highlighted, and you'll notice the script disappeared because that was attached to Scratchy, right? And then let's go down here, and we're going to grab a when I receive block, okay? And that's the other part that goes along with the broadcast block that Scratchy has. So Scratchy is going to broadcast a message, and then when the ball receives that message, then we can put some more code below here. And basically, we're going to go over to the motion button, and we will grab a move block, move 10 steps block. I'll put that there, okay? So go ahead and click back on the Scratchy sprite. And right now, let's just talk about the broadcast block. Right now it says message 1 here in the little field. And you can leave that as is, or if you're going to be doing lots of different broadcast blocks, which we will be doing in our story today, you probably want to name it something else, so they will you know, make a little bit more sense. So it's up to you what you want to name it. And typically I want to name it something that helps me remember what the broadcast block is supposed to do, or what script it's supposed to activate. So I'm going to type move for the message name, because Scratchy's going to be broadcasting when this green flag is clicked, move, and then the ball, when it receives that message, which is, you want to click on the ball sprite and then the message drop down menu to move. Once the ball receives that message move, then the ball will move 10 steps, okay? So let's go ahead and try that. Let's go ahead and click the green flag and see what happens. I'm going to put the ball right over here so we can kind of notice if there's any movement going on. Okay, so the ball moved just a little bit there. I don't know if you saw it, but that was kind of a short. Let's do a little bit longer here. Let's do 50 steps instead. Alright, so I'm going to click the green flag, and then as soon as I click the green flag, let's click back on Scratchy here. As soon as I click the green flag, broadcast move is going to run next, the second block of code. And then when the ball sprite here receives the move broadcast, then it's going to do a motion block there, 50 steps. So go ahead and click the green flag. Okay, and did you see it? So right now it's pretty simple, but that's just kind of the idea, is we want to see how that broadcast and receive, those two blocks work together, okay? So we can go ahead and, that we're done with our example here now, and what we can do is just go back and create a new project. So you can just go over here to the file in the main menu, click new, and then we'll get started. So before we start coding here, I would recommend go ahead and in the middle type some kind of name for this project. So I'm going to just name mine Digital Story Scene 1. Okay, and you can name yours whatever you want, but basically we're not doing a full-fledged story, you know, like something you would, you know, expect in a book with different pages, different chapters maybe. We're just doing one scene, or maybe just a couple pages out of a story, okay? So let's go ahead, and we're not going to need Scratchy. If you want to leave Scratchy for one of your two characters in the story, in the scene, you can. I'm going to go ahead and move Scratchy out here by clicking on the little trash can icon up here in the corner. And I'm going to go ahead and get some new characters going here. So let's go over here to choose a sprite in the lower right hand corner. And I'm going to try to choose two people. And I'm going to go with the medieval scene. If you want, you can do a completely different kind of scene, different characters, a different theme. And let's see here. I'm trying to find that wizard character. a magician character. Okay. And go ahead and choose whichever one you want. And another thing that I would recommend too, actually, before we go any further, is I would get a piece of paper and a pen or pencil and write out a scene. Just write out what is the scene, what's the theme. Maybe it's something from one of your favorite books or movies or TV shows. You could recreate something like that. So write down what's the story, and then who are the two characters, boy, girl. It could be fantasy characters, it could be animals. It's up to you. And then I'd say write out 4 or 5 lines per character, so they're having a conversation. You know, hi, how are you? I'm fine, that kind of thing. And I would write that scene out on paper before we get going on the rest here. So you can go ahead and pause this if you want now and work on that for a few minutes. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and start this up again, and we'll continue. Okay, so hopefully you got some kind of story scene written down. It doesn't have to be perfect, but just some kind of idea for our project here. And we're going to go ahead and choose our 2 characters for our scene. And I'm going with a medieval theme, like in the example I showed you earlier. And I think I'm going to choose this knight here. He looks kind of fun. Okay, so that's going to be one of my 2 characters, and then I need one more. So let's see if I can find another. I'm going to click on fantasy up here. And here's a fairy. I think I'll go with the fairy. Okay. Now if you want to change the size of your sprites, if they're a little bit bigger or smaller than you want, just make sure you have your sprite selected down here, and then go over to the costumes tab on the left side there, and then you can see your sprite. And what I would do is I'm drawing kind of a box around the sprite, and that should select your sprite, and then you can pull on one of the edges there to make the sprite bigger or smaller. So there we go. I think that's more the size I'm going for. Okay, and if you're happy with the way it is, you don't need to worry about that step. I'm just kind of showing you what I'm doing there. Okay, so here's our characters, and then we need a background. A white background is not very exciting unless you're going for a snowstorm scene or something. So I'm going to go ahead and go into choose a backdrop, and again I went over here to this other menu right next to this choose a sprite menu. Okay, and I'm going to go up here to fantasy, and then I'm going to go for some kind of castle scene, something like that. Okay, alright, so I think that's pretty good. Alright, and go ahead and take your time finding your characters and scene, and if you need to pause this video for a minute while you work on those, go ahead. Okay. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started with our scene. And in this scene, the fairy is going to start the conversation first. So I'm going to go ahead and click on, oops, I just deleted the fairy on accident. Let me see if I can go back there. Well, that was my fault. I'll add another fairy sprite. Okay. And change her size a bit. It's a big fairy. Okay. Alright, let's see there. Oops, too small. Maybe like that. Yeah, that'll work, I think. Alright. Okay, so go ahead and click on whichever sprite you want to start your conversation. And in this scene, my scene is going to be the fairy's going to start talking first, or start the conversation. Okay, then we're going to go over here to the events button and grab one of those when green flag is clicked, and that's what starts your program running and all the code. Okay, Now, if you noticed in my example, there was some background music. So let's go ahead and go over here to the sound button. And so I already have some things preloaded here. But if you need a different sound, you can go ahead and go into the Sounds tab up here. And then go to the sound library by clicking down here, okay, in the bottom left. Okay, so some of these sounds in here are just short little notes or a couple of notes or something, and it's over. We want something that's going to be playing a little longer. So if you go into loops, that'll have something that'll be interesting. Let's see here. Alright, there's a medieval little sound loop, so I'm going to go with that one. Medieval 2 is the name of it. Okay. And so what we're going to do now is go back out to the Code tab. Sound button selected, and then we're going to choose this place sound. Okay, let me try that out, make sure it's okay. So for this scene, the fairy is actually going to not be there when it first starts, so go ahead and go to the looks button here. And we're going to choose the hide block here. Okay, so as soon as we click the green flag to start this program or scene, the music will start playing, and then the fairy will disappear. Okay. Mine is not hiding right now. So I'm not sure what's going on. I'm going to have to check my code on that. We'll just leave it like that. Oh, here we go. There is, I chose the play medieval 2 sound until done. And actually, we want to go back in over here to the sound blocks. And we're going to just choose it start sound instead, okay? Let's see if that makes a difference. Okay, so as you can see, the fairy disappeared, or the hide block worked. So, okay. All right. So next up is we will have her appear in the scene after a brief pause. So let's go ahead and go over here to the control button, and we will grab a wait block here. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Wait. Put that there, and you can make it however many seconds you want. It could be 1 second. It could be 5. I think I'm going to do about 2 seconds. So she's gone, but not for too long before she appears in the scene. Okay. All right, and then after that brief pause, then go back to the looks button. Then we're going to choose the show block. Okay. All right, so we can just see how it works. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is the dialogue is going to start with her first line. So we're going to go ahead and stay with the looks button selected there, and then we're going to choose to say hello for 2 seconds. Okay, we're going to put that right down there. And I'm going to change the message there a little bit, and it's going to be, hi, how are you? And just for a couple seconds, just so the words, this will trigger the word bubble, and then how long do we want that word bubble to stay up? I'm going to put 3 seconds, and let's try that. So I saw the word bubble appear. Could have stayed up a little bit longer, so I think I'm going to change it to 5 seconds there instead. Okay, in this block. Okay. All right. So now, for the knight to respond, he's going to something's going to need to happen for him to know when to start doing his talking, right? So that's where we're going to put in our first broadcast. Okay. Oops. What am I doing here? I'm sorry, I'm scrolling around a bit too much. Okay. All right, so we're going to go to the events button there, and then we're going to choose the broadcast. Okay. And this again is to basically get the knight to say his lines, which we haven't created yet. His first part of the dialogue to answer her question after she says, "How are you?" So right now it says broadcast message 1, and we can just leave it as message 1 right now. Or if you want, you can change it. You could change it to something like a greeting or something like that. Okay, it's up to you how you want to do that. You can leave it the default message 1, message 2, and so on, or you can change it up a little bit. Okay. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and click over here on the knight sprite, and he doesn't have any code at all right now, right? So the first thing we're going to want to do for him is he's just going to already be out on the stage when we start the program, when we start the scene, and we're going to want him to basically just wait until she comes out and says, "Hi, how are you?" and then he's going to get his chance to respond. So for that, we're going to grab the when I receive block to receive that broadcast message. Okay, and then after that, we can click on the looks button there, and then we can grab another say for number of seconds block. Okay, and so he's not going to say hello. He's going to answer her question, "How are you?" And you can type in something like, "I'm doing great. How are you?" That's kind of nice. Okay, and then give it 3 or 4 seconds. Okay. So let's go ahead and run that code. Let's click the green flag and make sure our broadcast and receive blocks are working. Okay, so she said her line. I'm going to scoot these sprites around a bit because the word bubbles are kind of getting in each other's way. Okay. And I think I'm going to make my knight sprite a little bit bigger. Maybe he's more in the front of the scene, and she's maybe in the background a little bit, so maybe a little bit smaller. Okay. Okay, so everything's working well. So he said his first line, and so now he's got a broadcast or have a broadcast block in there, so she knows, or that the fairy sprite will know to do her next line here. So we're going to choose broadcast message, and right now it says message 1, and we're going to need to change it here to message 2. Okay. And again, you can name these whatever you want. Right now I'm just keeping it very simple so we can kind of see the order 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Okay. And so after you have this for this knight sprite, we're going to click on the fairy sprite down here. Go back to her code. Okay, and then now she is we need a receive block for her. Okay. So when I receive and it's going to be message 2, okay? And that's message 2 correlates to the night's broadcast message there, okay? So once his code runs and he responds, then his sprite is going to broadcast message 2, which is going to go back to the fairy sprite, and when she receives message 2, then the next script below this block will go. Okay. Alright, so make sure your fairy sprite is selected there, and then message 2, she's going to respond to what he said, how are you, and then you can just get another say block there from the looks button. I'm good, or whatever you want to say, thanks. And 4 or 5 seconds for her. Okay, let's go ahead and run that. Okay, so good. So our code is working. They've got a little dialogue going in the scene. So we're just going to continue on from here and basically just do more of the same receive and broadcast blocks with the conversation, okay? So we're just doing a couple of sentences, just a short little conversation here between the two sprites, okay? So, and now what we're going to want to do is after she says I'm good, thanks, then the knight needs to know when he's going to talk again, so we're going to grab another broadcast block, just like we did on the last one, and she's going to broadcast a new message. It's not going to be message 1, it's got to be, and it's not going to be message 2, now it's going to be the third time around, so message 3. Okay, so go ahead, and after you have that down on the fairy sprite, then you can click on the knight sprite. Alright, and then we're going to go ahead and do more of the same thing here. Okay, I'm going to do another when I receive, but it's going to be message 3, right? Now the music, the way we have it set up now is the music is not continuously playing. It's playing for a little while in its own loop, that block playing its own little short snippet of the song, and then it's stopping. So we're going to go ahead and add a sound again to keep it going, if that makes sense. So we're going to go ahead and start sound, and now it's on pop, which we don't want. Let's see here. Okay, so the fairy sprite has the medieval sound, medieval 2, but the knight sprite does not. So we're going to have to go into the sound library here and find that medieval 2 was the name of the sound loop there. Okay. Alright. There's another one in here, this pop one, which we don't really need. Looks like it's just in there by default. So anyways, we can go ahead and click on the code tab there. And now when you go back down and he receives message 3 from the fairy sprite, then we're going to start the medieval 2 sound. Okay. And that's just going to keep the music going. So let's go ahead and get another line of the script, and let's see here. The last thing the fairy said was I'm good, thanks, and then the knight is going to ask her another question here, and he's going to ask her if she has homework tonight. Okay. So grab another say block. And you can type in, do you have a lot of homework? And again, if you've written your own scene and script, you can type in whatever lines you've created for your characters, okay, for your scene. And we'll do 4 seconds. Okay. Okay, and after he says his line, then we need another broadcast, right? Okay, and now we are on message, not 1, 2, or 3, but message 4, and we need to create that, so click on new message, and more of the same naming convention there. Not too creative, but it does the job. Okay, and broadcast message 4. Okay, and then that's on the sprite, night sprite, and then we're going to click on the fairy sprite, and getting into a rhythm here. Then we're going to get another when I receive, and message 4. I'm going to get some more, get the sound, keep the sound going. Okay. And then looks button and say, and not tonight, to answer his question, do you have any homework? And 4 or 5 seconds, whatever you want to do there. Okay. Alright, and let's go ahead and try that out. Make sure our code is so let's do a couple more lines here, and then we'll change it up a little bit, or not. Well, yeah, change the scene a little bit. We're gonna go to another background. So, all right. So, the fairy just answered, "Not tonight. I don't have much homework." In other words, on this line. So let's go ahead and click on the night sprite down here. Okay, and she's broadcasting message 4. Or I'm sorry, she's broadcasting. Let's go back. So go back to the fairy sprite here. And after she says "not tonight," then we're going to want to get another broadcast message here. And it's broadcast message, what number? 5, right? Not 1, 2, 3, or 4, but new message, and it's going to be message 5. Okay. Now, after you get that, this message 5 broadcasts with the fairy in there. Then you go ahead and click on the night sprite there. All right. And we're going to go back to when I receive, and then message 5. And say block, and I'll say okay for a couple seconds. Alright, and what's next? What do we need to put for the fairy to say her next line? Yep, go back to events, and then you can go back to broadcast. And now we are on message 6, so go ahead and create a new message. Okay. Alright, and once you have that on the night sprite, then go ahead and click back on the fairy sprite here. And more of the same. When I receive message 6, and let's see here. Let's go ahead and go back to the night sprite for a minute. We're actually going to have him say another line here. After he asks the question, do you have homework? And she says, not tonight. So go ahead and click back on that, the night sprite. And we're going to have, let's see here. Let's go ahead and go back over to the buttons, and we're going to grab a weight, and we're going to put it right in here, and have him wait for a couple of seconds, maybe 2 or 3 seconds, and then we're going to let's pull this broadcast message block out for a minute, and then after he receives message 5 saying no, I don't have homework, then we're going to have him respond, okay, or we're going to have here, Lucky instead. Lucky, no homework. There's going to be a brief pause, and then he's going to say something else to the fairy, and that's going to be the want to see a magic trick. I don't know if you remember from the example at the beginning of the video. Do want to see a magic trick. Let's go ahead and make that a little bit more grammatically correct. Do you want to see a magic trick? Okay. Alright, and then guess what? We want to do broadcast message 6, right? Okay, so this is with the night sprite, and then he's going to broadcast message 6, so go ahead and click back on the fairy sprite, and then we're going to want to get when I receive message 6, and she's going to respond back. Go to looks, and she's going to say okay for a couple of seconds. Okay. And then we're going to go back over here to events, and she's going to broadcast message number what? Message 7, right? Create message 7. Okay, and then after you get that code for the fairy, then we're going to click back on the night sprite, and then we're going to grab when I receive and message 7. Okay. And so now is where we're going to add a little sound effect, because he's going to take her to another place for the magic trick. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do a little sound effect for that, and we want something new, so I'm going to click sounds and choose a sound, and let's do some kind of magical kind of sound effect here. Let's see if there's a magic or something in here. Space ripple is the one that we used earlier in the example. So let me see if I can find that one here. I'm going to go with this one here, this pluck. Okay. So go ahead and go back out if you've chosen your sound effect that you want. And then we're going to put that message, that sound effect, right here when he receives message 7, which was her response, okay, I want to see a magic trick. Okay, and then this is where we're going to change the backdrop. It's going to go from a castle to another scene. So for mine, I'm going to go ahead and go over here to the backdrops, and we're going to choose another backdrop, and he's going to take her to some other place. Let's see here. Totally up to you. Here, I'm going to do the neon tunnel. Okay. So notice now if you click on the stage there down in the corner, and then you go over here to backdrops, you'll see that you have the castle scene, and then you have the neon tunnel scene. Okay. So we can just select castle for now, and then go back out to the code here. And so notice now that the sprites down here are not selected. Okay, it's the backdrop that's selected over here in the right corner for the stage. All right, so let's go ahead and we're going to click back on the night sprite, because after all the scene has happened so far, the dialogue, after this pluck sound happens, then the scene is going to change. Okay. So now we're going to go to the looks button over here, and we're going to choose switch backdrop block over here. Okay. And right now mine is there's random, there's all these others, but neon tunnel is the one I chose. So that's the one we want. Okay. So let's go ahead and run that code once you have that in on yours, and see if dialogue happens like it's supposed to, and then we get that difference. Okay. Alright, so the dialogue is running like it's supposed to, back and forth between the fairy and the knight, and then the backdrop changed when it was keyed here after the message 7 was put out there. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's have her give a little response. So go ahead and click back on the fairy, and she'll say something like wow, or whatever you think is a good response. Okay. And what we'll do here is we can put another wait block on here and just leave this make the wait time a little bit longer, maybe 5 or 10 seconds. I'm gonna try 6, and then what'll happen is it'll just a little time will pass, the backdrop will change, and then she'll respond. We'll see how the timing works on that. Okay, and then after she waits, or after there's a pause for 6 seconds, then we're going to grab another save block, and then maybe she'll say wow. Kind of amazed there. Okay, and seconds there. Let's try that out. Okay, so you notice I started the project running, or the scene running from the beginning, but the backdrop didn't change back, so we need to put a little code in there for the backdrop to reset every time we hit the green flag up here. So let's do that. So the dialogue starts with the fairy. So let's make sure the fairy sprite is selected, and then let's do switch backdrop to the castle. Okay. Okay, so once you have that working, let's go ahead and scroll back down. And after the fairy has said wow, then we need the knight to get some another broadcast block, so his next script can run to finish up this scene. Okay, so let's go ahead and go back up to events, and we will go to broadcast. Alright, and now we're up to message not 7 but 8, so go ahead and do new message 8. Okay, and then once you have that coded on her, then go ahead and click back on the night sprite. Okay, and it should be showing the neon tunnel still from the where we're at in the scene. And then from here he's going to say one more thing about you want to go back. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab it when I receive for the night, and when I receive message 8, he's going to say, okay, let's go back to where we were here. I'm going to save block. Let's go back home, something like that. And then you can change the time again. And alright. And then we'll get another sound effect. So you go to the sound button and the sound pluck. And then we're going to switch backdrop again here. So go back up here to looks and switch backdrop back to the Castle 1 backdrop. Okay. And let's go ahead and run it here and see what we get. I'm going to go full screen. Okay. Alright, so everything seems to be working well. So I'm going to go ahead and leave the full screen there. And if something's not working right on your project, I would just go back and check your code line by line, block by block for each sprite. And if things just aren't coming together, you can always take blocks or sections of the code away, just drag them from over to the left of the stage, and they will disappear. Okay, oops. And then you can just narrow it down to where the problem might be, if that makes any sense. Okay, you can always rewind this video if you need to and play over sections and check your code on your computer and your Scratch project with the ones I'm doing here. Okay, so I think we're gonna stop there for today, and that was kind of a different one. Hopefully it was a little bit of a nice break from the games we've been doing, and we can just go ahead and finish up here today. So let me go ahead, and I'm just gonna change my screens on my computer here real quick. and we will call it a day. So we will have another session next week, same time, 2 p.m. Tuesday, August 11th. And not sure what we're going to do yet. I think that's going to be our last one in the summer series, so we'll have to do something cool to finish up. And yeah, I'd say if you want to do previous projects, if you came into this later in the summer and you want to see what else we've done, you can go to this web link here on our YouTube channel for Ada Community Library, and there's other videos on there. And so anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed that. And that's just, again, a scene from a digital story. And you could do quite a bit more like that. You could do a whole movie if you wanted to with different scenes. You could just really have a lot of fun with this. So totally up to you. But just wanted to introduce you to that concept and a cool thing you can do in Scratch. And so I will let you get back to the rest of your day and have a great week. And hopefully we will see you again soon. So take care and have a good rest of your week. Bye.